Vi Thurmond is America's premier decorative artist in the field of portrait painting. Her paintings, reflecting her love of people and animals, have an outstanding quality that brings not only realism to the canvas, but captures each subject's unique personality and characteristics. Her paintings, executed in oils, acrylics, and pastels, usually begin from photographic studies, many of which she herself takes. Vi is the author of over 125 instructional packets and 6 books designed especially for the decorative art market. Her video, Portraits, A Simple Method, featuring Rachel Elizabeth, was released in 1992. She has also completed a line of pet and country greeting and note cards featuring portraitures of pets and farm animals, as well as her catchy notepads. Vi has been teaching decorative painting for over 18 years and was awarded the Master Decorative Artist Award by the National Society of Toll and Decorative Painters. In addition to teaching at their national convention and affiliated shows, she also teaches 8 to 10 seminars a year throughout the United States and Canada. Her students appreciate her easy, calm, and fun way of approaching portrait painting. Let's join Vi as she shares her unique techniques of painting and stroking animal fur. Her subject is JC, a 6-month-old brown tabby Maine Coon cat.
I'm really excited about this painting, and you'll love the subject. This Maine Coon cat is so expressive. I want to start at the very beginning, giving you a step-by-step plan on how to paint your favorite cat. First of all, you'll need a good photograph. If you're going to take the photographs yourself, you want to be sure that you take them at eye level. In other words, get down to the surface where the cat is, or bring the cat up to your eye level. Then you want to take a number of photographs so that you have quite a selection. You want to select one for your painting. Now, when you have selected the one that you're going to paint, you may want to have it enlarged to an 8 by 10 so that you can see good detail. I have my photograph here of JC, and we need to make a design. So I have, with a ruler, I have sectioned off this photograph into 4 equal sections, horizontally and vertically. With the ruler, I made the little dots so that these were equal, and then I secured tape across and up and down. I also, at the same time, prepared a piece of drawing paper with the same grid as the photograph. Now, what I want to do is to draw what I see in the section of the photograph on the drawing paper. And I've just started it here using just a pencil, and I draw what I see. I've done the second one. I would go across, just come in, and I stroke what I see. If you wanted to stroke in the darker areas, you could make them a little heavier. And then start with the ear and just go across. If it would help to have a little window viewfinder, let me get one here because I made one. This helps. Put it on one section at a time. It helps to isolate each section from the rest of the photograph. I also have a completed drawing here. Let me show it to you. And when I looked at this, I saw that I was missing a left ear. With the face forward, I took tracing paper, put it on the right ear, traced it, flipped it over, lined it up with the top of the head and the side, and put it in for a left ear. I also looked at photographs for the long fluffy fur that was in the front. I also added the fluffy fur, took a piece of tracing paper, and traced the whole thing. Now that's my design. Then I needed to decide on a canvas, an 8 by 10, 9 by 12. And when I have that done, I need to take the canvas and the design to a copy center. and have it enlarged. This is an enlarged copy. I chose an 8 by 10 canvas, and you need to check it for placement. You want a little more subject than background, and if the head is tilted a bit, you want a little bit more in front of the face than behind the head. Then I prepared my canvas, and you can see that I have prepared it with a gray. I have prepared it with white plus a Nimbus gray plus equal amount of sealer. I allowed it to dry, and then I transferred my design or pattern with transfer paper. Placing it in, you could secure it down, place it in, and using a stylus, you go over all the lines, and you will have transferred the design to the canvas. I have my paints here, and I'm going to get my palette ready, and I'll be right back. I am using Chroma acrylics on a Stay Wet palette, and my paints are white, yellow oxide, raw sienna, provincial beige, naphtha red light, burnt umber, sapphire, and black. I have 5 mixtures. The first one is white plus yellow oxide. Second one, white plus provincial beige. Third one is provincial beige plus white. Sky color for the fourth one is sapphire, white, little raw sienna, and a little burnt umber. Number 5 is the nose color, naphtha red light, burnt umber, and a white. I'm using retarder because these acrylics, even without the retarder, have more open time because they have no sealer in them. With the retarder, I will have even more open time. I have painted the left half of my painting, and I'm now going to paint the right half. I am going to use a brush for the retarder so that I can dampen the area, just dampen it before I paint. I'm going to use one brush for light colors and one for dark colors. Now I will just dampen the area of the sky quickly and even the ear so that I can put the sky in. I just base it in with the number 4 mixture. I'm going to pick up number 1 and just lighten above the head. Going back to my sky color just to blend it in next to the head. I'm going to add a little black to the color that I have on my brush. That's the blue with a little black, and splash it into the right ear, the inside. Could be just a tad darker. I'm going to shade next to the edge with burnt umber. And I'm stroking in the direction of the fur. I'm going to pull out a wash of burnt umber, add a few of the little hairs, the little fur that is right above the ear, and add a wash of burnt umber in the edge. Could be a little darker, probably because I have the retarder in the paint as well as on the surface. I'm going to lighten within the ear with the number 2 mix. Just tap it. The long fur within the ear is also stroked. I'm just going to stroke it with the chisel of my flat brush, and then later I'll go on with the liner. Now I need to start at the top of the head, but before I do, I need to talk about fur for just a minute. When you stroke fur, it is very important to stroke it in the direction that the fur lays. Fur starts at the outer edges, putting one layer over another, working toward the center of the face. I'll make just a little drawing here to show you that, let's say, this is a little face. Let me put some ears on quickly. And these would be eyes, and here's the nose. The top of the head, if this were center coming through right here, the top of the head, the strokes would be up to the upper right, up to the upper, this would be left to the upper right. When you get to the side, this would still be to the upper left. As you get even with the tear duct, it starts going to the side and then slowly downward. On the right side, again, this would be upper right, even with the tear duct out, slowly downward. Curve slowly downward. For the chin area, again, this is down, so these would be down. Lower left would be curved to the left, lower right, curved to the lower right. We also have to think of fur as being more than one layer, just like the hair on our head. So if we have more than one layer, we put the first one on, and I'll just do a little row here, just part of one. The second one has to go underneath, but also on top. Now I started with a zigzag. When I first started, I would do, pull up a zigzag or a half of a zigzag. And then I got to where I was working a lot of fur. I would almost be nervous and kind of break it, so that it was kind of up, down, and the length was not the same. And this is good for fur. And that's what we're going to do as we start back with the top of the head. This is just giving you stroke direction for the painting. Now, starting at the very top, I'm going to start with a layer of number 2. Kind of hard to see. I'm also at the same time going to put it in. I know we talked about one layer over the other, and we'll have to do that. But I'm also going to place the lighter areas so that when I get there, I will just stroke that back in and over. Now here I have another layer just to indicate. Then I'm going to pick up burnt umber, and I will stroke burnt umber, layers of fur. I'm going to work these down to the eye. This is going, I pull it over a little bit. Even helps to be a little nervous. I'm going to place a little burnt umber right behind both edges of the ear, just to shade it. I'm also going to put the burnt umber right around the eye, as long as I have it in the brush. I just use a chisel of a flat for most of the paintings. Now I'll have to pull this out also in the direction that the fur lays. We try not to have lines. And I need to go back to the light area just to show you that this number 2 mix that I put in here has to be pulled over into the burnt umber because it is underneath. The same thing with the area above the eyes. This is drying just a little bit, so I'm going to pick up a little provincial beige, which will help the transition just from the light value to a middle value and a dark value. Then the burnt umber would have to be pulled down at the bottom, would have to be pulled up and into the light color. Just so it looks furry. I'm going to base in the eye with just a mixture of yellow oxide and provincial beige. I should have painted the eye in at this step, but I plan to do it in the second step. But if I would do it now, then JC could look at me and check on me throughout the painting. I'm going to also base in the nose. Now I'm going to start on the right side. I'm going to stroke the fur, starting again with number 2 mixture. I'm going to stroke the fur downward. I'm going to add a little provincial beige on top of it just to soften it in right away. Now I'm going to add burnt umber, and I don't have a long layer, but one that comes down just a little ways. Stroke it right over. This time I'm going to stroke in the burnt umber areas just to indicate, then I'll have to go back and soften. I have another area that's coming down right here. If you're a little nervous, that helps. See, that brings us up to the cheek area. Put a little bit underneath the side of the face, and we'll go back to light colors. I'm going to come down with some number 3, pull it over the burnt umber, and I'm going to pick up my retarder brush and just add a bit more retarder on this because it's beginning to dry. Now some provincial beige could also come in here. This. I'm going to go back and pick up burnt umber, and again, so that I can get the side done, and just come back and show you, just stroke it over, and again, stroke over. Sometimes you can just zigzag and soften the areas where one overlaps. As I come to the face, I'm going to go to number 2 mixture. Add a little provincial beige to break it up. Now I've quickly put in number 2, but I will need to pull some of the burnt umber strokes again in order to break up the solid color that I have. I'm putting in little touches of burnt umber in the area where the whiskers will be. I also have a little area right above the nose where I need to tap in some burnt umber. If it isn't dark enough this time, then next time we will deepen it. Just stroking burnt umber. Now we have a lighter area right on the cheek, in this area next to the nose. So this time I'm going to pat. Sometimes the fur is very short. I have also a light area to the inside of the right eye. And also below. And I will soften that light area, again picking up provincial beige. Stroking it right into the edge, above and below. And then a wash of burnt umber. This is a tear duct. And I'm just going to put a wash of burnt umber, just tapping it right in here. Little provincial beige right in this area. That's all given on your color map, which is included. Now I'm going to start with the body. I'm going to stroke the burnt umber, and these strokes will be longer. We talked about the short strokes, but these will be longer. Start at the outside, downward, And again, I'm going to stop, pick up my brush, and add a little retarder because my surface is drying. This is going to be more or less burnt umber strokes, layer upon layer. Sometimes I pick up burnt umber and it has more paint in it, so it'll be a little darker. Other than that, that's how I'm going to get my values. Working up toward the face, I'll add some provincial beige, but the majority of this will be burnt umber. Remember to stroke in the direction that the fur lays. I'm going to deepen under the chin again, a bit much. Just do a zigzag, and I will need to blend into the lighter areas. I'm going to add a little of the sky color right along this edge, and you can see how easily the blue will soften it. Blue over any of the harsh browns will really soften. I need to just add, to finish this, I just need to add a little more of the light just to blend so that one area blends in with the other. And the same thing on here, on these edges. Just as long as it's wet, just kind of go back and soften it. When you have this done, then you need to allow it to dry thoroughly. Then we'll come back and put on the second step. For the second step, you need to look through the painting. Does it need refining? Do areas need to be lighter or deeper? If you look at the sky and you want to lighten it, then repeat the first step and just lighten in the area above the head. I'm going to go on to the area of the cat so that we can spend most of our time on the cat. I'm going to dampen the surface with retarder. I do not use water because if the painting is not quite dry, it would reactivate the paint and would lift. I'm putting it down further probably than what I need and can redampen as I work if it is needed. I'm looking at the ear, and the ear needs to have some of the lighter fur stroke through the center. Just these little long hairs coming out, and I'm doing that with a chisel of a flat brush to start with. Then I'll take a liner brush, come back, and with the number 1 mixture, just lighten where the curved area would be. If I would like to deepen any other area of the ear, I can pick up a little burnt umber, deepen it near the edge. Whatever we did in the first step can be repeated in the second step. Then I look at the top of the head. If I want to deepen it, I will again pick up burnt umber. Sometimes you don't have to do all the stroking in the second step. I will show you right here. I have picked up a wash of burnt umber, and if I stroke this, I could even do a broad stroke. You see what it does? It softens the area and deepens it, both at the same time. If I want to cut through some of the light areas, this is like a wash. All I have to do is do this little zigzag and cut through. Now I have an area here that is a solid burnt umber. I think that it should have a lighter value coming into it. So I take Provincial Beige and I'm coming in from both sides just to break it up. Any place where I have a solid area. If you do the zigzag and it's more of a wash, it will work very well for you. Now I'm going to, well, let me cut through this just a little bit more. And some of these burnt umber strokes could be a little darker. I'm going to place in the eye. My base was yellow oxide and Provincial Beige. So again, I need to put the base coat on. And I'm going to pick up a little raw sienna on the corner of the brush so that I can just shade next to the burnt umber. And if it won't shade, I might even pick up a little burnt umber to do that. It's not coming dark enough. It's like floating a little color right on the edge so that it will soften. Then I'm going to pick up white and I'm going to come right through the center to lighten. Here again I use a little zigzag. The pupil will be black. Placing in just a line. And I don't go all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm going to scoot it out a little to the side on the right and on the left. Try to make it about the size as the left eye. I may not get that quite. Repeat the black to make it darker, but I'm going to go back and widen this to go with the left eye. I'm going to come back with a blue line around the outside of the pupil to soften it with the iris. Then I'm going to add a highlight. Or we would say right about 3 o'clock, and it's on the edge of the pupil. I'm going to go ahead and work on the nose at the same time. And I need to dampen it with the retarder and base. Second time we can just put the base back on with retarder in the brush. And I'm going to shade with burnt umber. would be at the bottom, coming around and up through the center. The nostril opening will be burnt umber, and then just the side of the nose will also be shaded. And I'll make little touches just at the top to break up the line that we have, and there would be a little bit of fur hanging over. I'm going to quickly deepen also in the area between the nose and the eye. I need to come down from the nose. This is the division to the mouth. This is with burnt umber, and pull the little mouth opening, coming down, just fur-like strokes. And I can break this up. And if I want to shade, we need to shade just a bit. This is just a wash. Shade right next to the nose. We can also put some of the nose color right at the opening of the mouth also. Then the chin, while we are here, let's just go ahead and deepen just to show where the has a tiny little chin. Okay, deepen this end right here just a little bit more to stop it. The side of the nose, and then I'm going to start at the side of the face, the right side. And we had placed number 2 mixture, and we put some provincial beige in here. So we're going to start again just to break up any areas that are solid, as long as we have the retarder on first. With burnt umber in my brush, I'm gonna hold on to 2 brushes here at the same time so I can just go back and forth. Just going to deepen. It's kind of a zigzag that shows you how to stroke it over. Just work it back and forth. Actually, I'm just repeating what I did in step 1. I might add just a bit more provincial beige in it this time, in places here. This is provincial beige. add a little bit more burnt umber in these areas and pull it over so that it gives the contour of the animal. Okay, I'm going to start with the body and just repeat what I did before. I will dampen with the retarder. Each painting you do will be different. You can't paint two paintings the same, in the same value even. They just all turn out different. I need to blend in these edges so that we don't have any harsh edges. Just soften it in. As we come up, we lighten, we deepen. I'm going to add a little provincial beige right in here. And remember the blue touches we put in before? We can add more of the blue touches right into the bottom area. A little too much, needs to be a wash to go with what we have on the left half. I'm going to also lighten using the number 2 mix and bring some of the fur over on the right side. Just kind of stroke it the way it lays. That's what we do through the whole painting, is to lighten and to deepen, just to restroke what we did in step 1. I need to add whiskers. I will place these in with the number 1 mixture. I need to thin it down, use a liner brush, stroke these in. Usually I wait until my painting is dry, because sometimes my first stroke would be a bummer. If I could turn it, and you can turn the painting so that your stroking would be more easy to do. Some are straight, some are curved. Some are longer, some are shorter. Then I go back and I take a little white and lighten only the area that is curved, the forward area. Again, you have to thin it down, otherwise it just won't roll off the brush. you get it too light, then you have to go back and soften it again. This one could come down longer. Also, you need to go back, and if it's just with retarder and a little wash of burnt umber, it's just to soften where these little whiskers come from the cheek. Any of the areas can be done in a third step. Now you may like it the way it is and allow it to dry thoroughly. The other thing that I would like to tell you is that I hope by my going through these steps and stroking the fur that you will be inspired to paint your favorite cat. It takes a bit of practice, it's a lot of fun, and very rewarding. I know you can do it. Until next time, bye now.